political parties in municipal elections. And boy, I tell you, municipal leaders are pretty worked up over the whole concept because it sounds like Premier Smith is going to bring in legislation to allow it. Now, the question these incumbent municipal politicians should be asking as they rally in opposition to allowing parties in municipal politics is, or what we should be asking them is, what are you afraid of? I mean, the case being made by Albertan mayors, reeves, and councillors in opposition to these proposed changes is that nobody wants to see these parties. They're saying Albertans don't want it. So, okay, if that's the case, then you guys should have nothing to worry about. You'll be reelected as independent candidates and the parties will just fade away into the sidelines, right? The reality is, countless municipal politicians have been taking advantage of the lack of party politics at the municipal level, coupled with the apathy of voters to get elected under false pretenses. I mean, we've got no means of vetting through a party nomination process, so candidates can disguise themselves as conservative-minded people when they're running for office. Of course, once they get elected, they tack hard left, and unfortunately, the frustrated electorate tends to stay home rather than vote these pretenders out of office. Former Calgary Mayor Naheed Nenshi is a prime example of that. Municipal politics in Alberta right now are a mess. Councils everywhere are fractured at each other's throats, not getting anything done, while frustrated voters are trying things such as recall initiatives to get rid of these terrible politicians. I mean, look at Chestermere. The province had to actually step in and fire the mayor and council because they were too nutty to try and bring to a reasonable state of functional order. Would a party system cure all these ills in the municipal system? No, of course not. It wouldn't, but it sure would help. If candidates have a party allegiance tied to them, voters, people in general, citizens can get a better idea of where that candidate stands ideologically. Parties typically have a nomination process before endorsing candidates. If there's a contested nomination, we can rest assured that closet socialists are going to be exposed before they hit the ballot in the general election. Some of the less than mentally stable contenders for the job could probably be weeded out as well. I mean, we get a lot of good candidates running for office, but they lose the elections because they don't know how to run in them. And they don't have an organization behind them to help them along with it. With parties, candidates have a structure and a potential team to help them effectively contest the election. I mean, costs in campaigning, they can be reduced as candidates can share costs from constituency to constituency on things like branding, communications, printing, and even sharing campaign office space. With a party apparatus, candidates with limited campaign experience can still compete effectively for the role. Parties can also hold candidates accountable between elections. That's something we all dearly want. I mean, much like in other levels of government, a party can't remove a person from their elected position, nor should they be able to, but a party can refuse to endorse that candidate in the next election if the candidate deviates too far from the shared principles they said they held with the party. That ability, though, does reflect one of the potential downsides of a party system. I mean, to be fair, candidates could find themselves more inclined to answer to the party than their constituents, and that's not a good thing. It's a risk that should be mitigated through party policies, though. When municipal parties are formed, representatives will need to have the leeway to be able to represent their needs of the individual constituencies rather than always towing a party line. I mean, a suburban councillor, they're going to have different policies and priorities and needs than an inner city urban council would. And they should have the flexibility to represent those differences. With city and town councils having a small number of people within them, these councils, a traditional party politics such as whip votes won't work anyways. Those problems, though, can and would be ironed out with an effective party. We can't pretend that parties don't exist in municipal politics already. Alberta unions put together a war chest of an estimated $1.7 million and gave it to a political action group called Calgary's Future in the last election. Now, that group's purpose was to elect a certain slate of candidates in the municipal election, and lo and behold, most of the candidates endorsed by the unions won their seats. You know what that's called? A party system. We already have it, guys. We'd be better served to make the system official and then make the parties transparent. Many of the municipal politicians currently howling and pissing and moaning over the advent of a party system in Alberta's municipal elections got elected with union support. They know full well they likely couldn't win re-election if they had to wear their union allegiance on their sleeves while competing for the job against other candidates running under a party banner. Their interest isn't that of Albertans. Their interest is in themselves. People often ask, why does Alberta vote conservatively, federally and provincially, yet elects far-left politicians at the municipal level? Well, the main reason is the lack of parties at the municipal level. Leftists know they can't win through openly campaigning on their ideology. So they've gravitated to the level of politics where they can hide their leanings. And it's been an effective tactic on their part. And again, if it's true that Albertans truly don't want party politics in municipal elections, then these municipal politicians currently in power have nothing to worry about. Few would vote for those ghastly party endorsed politicians anyways, right? So why are you guys so worried? It's the fact that these clowns are that worried. It tells me exactly why we need those parties in municipal politics so much. I'm looking forward to seeing them coming along.